I'm not afraid. Candyman. 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 Oh, crap. No, no, no!
What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes! Ah!
Hey everybody, what's going on? Since the remake or the spiritual sequel or whatever it's supposed to be is coming out today, we are going to be talking about the original 1992's Candyman, starring Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd as the titular Candyman. Now, here's the thing. I have only seen this one time before now, and I never saw any of the sequels, so I don't really know about a lot of the lore or anything that they've introduced after the first movie, and I barely remembered the first one. From what little bit I've read on the first one, while it establishes some things, they change it later on. But I'm only going to be talking about this first movie. There's probably going to be some spoilers in this review. So that being said, did I like this movie? Yeah, it's alright. I mean, the strong point is definitely the performance of Tony Todd as the Candyman. He's creepy, man. There's just no doubt about it. Just his presence and his voice, and the character that he helped to create is creepy. Is it worth watching? Yeah, it's worth watching. I kind of want to see the other ones now. Now that I'm delving into this, I don't know if I'm going to look at them anytime soon, but I may. I don't know. What this movie is about is Virginia Madsen and her partner for the University of Illinois Chicago. They are trying to come up with a thesis about urban legends and things like that. And one of them that they are studying is the Candyman. But they start to find out that it has. They start to find out some of the real world applications of where it came from, and they start to track it down. At first, though, they hear about the legend about saying Candyman 5 times in the mirror, and then he appears. Virginia Madsen's character jokingly does it. Her partner says it 4 times and quits, and they kind of laugh about it. They end up tracking down where this person that is supposedly the Candyman is from. They find all sorts of drawings and everything on the wall, and things that say that yes, he probably came from here. But then it turns out that it's just a local legend, and some people are pretending to be the Candyman, and Virginia Madsen's character actually gets the crap kicked out of her, and they end up arresting the person that was pretending to be the Candyman. So she thinks, okay, it was just an urban legend. They're just messing with me. But then they find out that the Candyman is real. Tony Todd, as the Candyman, appears to her and basically says, "You need to be my next victim." Earlier in the movie, they meet a lady that lives in this building, the same building, that has a baby, and the Candyman has taken the baby and says, "You need to be my next victim, and I'll let the baby go. Otherwise, I'm going to kill the baby." So then we have Virginia Madsen's character. She starts to black out, but then when she awakens, bad things have happened. People are getting killed or hurt, and she is being blamed for it. And that's kind of the whole thing of the movie, is the Candyman is trying to get her to accept him and get her to basically help his legend live on, because if his legend doesn't live on, he has no power, is really the way of looking at it. So first things first, Virginia Madsen's pretty good in this, and she's definitely your main character. But the real treat, of course, is Tony Todd as the Candyman. He's not in it a ton. I mean, it takes forever, at least half the movie, for him to actually show up because, again, they're dealing with these urban legends and everything, and you're meant to believe that it's not real, and then until it is. But when he shows up is when the movie really picks up. Again, he is wanting Virginia Madsen's character to accept him, to help his legend live on. That's really the big point of the movie, is him trying to get her to admit he's real and get people to see that he's real, and that way the legend will live on. And it really shows that this character, the Candyman, is very narcissistic. He cares. Really, it doesn't matter what happens or how many people gets hurt or who he has to hurt or have other people hurt. He just wants to be remembered. He wants people to know his name and believe in his terror. And it's actually really interesting. Now, I know there's probably more in the other movies that kind of cover who he is as a character. And from what I understand, his character actually becomes really sympathetic in some ways. Granted, he's still this quote unquote monster. I mean, really, he is a bit of a monster because when he opens up his coat, that's where the bees joke comes from. There's this whole thing about bees, that he has like this hive inside of his chest. They talk about where the legend came from and why the bees and everything else in the movie. So that's what, they do explain technically how this person becomes the Candyman, and what happens to his hand and everything else. The movie as a horror movie, it's creepy, but since it takes forever to get to that creepiness, they show some creepy things here and there before the Candyman shows up, but it really takes a little too long to get there, I thought. That being said, the movie is just a little over an hour and a half, so by the time it gets there, it's not like this movie's like 2.5 hours long, so they have a short amount of time to tell this story, and the story that they do tell, I thought, was pretty good. One thing that confuses me, though, from what I understand, they don't continue the story. Now, I could be wrong, because, again, I have not seen any of the sequels or anything. But they kind of set up Virginia Madsen's character to be, in a way, the next Candyman, I guess, or Candy Woman, whatever you want to call her. Because she, while she stops the Candyman in the end, she has her own vengeance that she needs to take care of at the end of the movie. The vengeance you could see coming a mile away. Not that she was gonna cause the vengeance, but the fact that she had some things she had to deal with another character in this that you could tell this other character was doing her wrong the entire movie. One funny thing, though, that happens is when someone's telling the story of the Candyman earlier in the movie, they talk about a girl having a boyfriend, but she invites one of the bad boys over late one night, and that bad boy ends up being Ted Raimi. It's hilarious to see him walk into a room. I mean, I love Ted Raimi, but when I look at him, I don't see him as like the cool character, like the bad boy, right? And him walking in the room as the bad boy is kind of funny. One scene I do love, and this is, in a way, at least for a few seconds before this guy dies, Virginia Madsen's character proves to him that the Candyman is real, because no one can see him whenever she sees him. And she does the Candyman in the mirror, the 5 Candymans, and this guy just sitting at a desk, and all of a sudden the hook comes through him, or you just see blood. You don't even see the hook. You just see the blood start coming out because he's getting attacked by the Candyman. It's like, oh, I guess you're right, and then he dies. This is an entertaining movie. I believe the Candyman, again, I haven't seen the other movies, but Tony Todd, being that people see him as a legend in the horror genre, I can see it just from this movie, because if his performance in this is anything like his performance in the other ones, which again, I haven't seen him, but if they're anything like this one, he deserves to be in that echelon of, your Freddy Krueger or your Jason Voorhees and so on and so forth. But Tony Todd, man, he's just creepy in this. He definitely, Virginia Madsen's good, but Tony Todd definitely kind of carries the movie, especially when he shows up. Just that creepy voice and that nasty hook hand, and when he reveals what's under the coat and everything. It's a pretty entertaining movie. Did I love it? No. But, being that I hadn't seen it in forever and I didn't really remember anything about it, it was still really entertaining this time. And I do recommend it to horror fans if they haven't seen it. And it does kind of make me want to watch the other ones. And in some ways, it makes me curious about this new one, because some of the ideas that were introduced in this one about saying, well, we had this stuff happening in our really bad neighborhoods for years, and they're predominantly a black neighborhood, and then all of a sudden, pretty white girl gets attacked in this neighborhood and the cops are all over the place. It makes me wonder if that's what the new movie, if it's going to cover some of that stuff about racial equality and everything that this one kind of touched on. So it does make me curious for the new Candyman. But anyway, that's my review of Candyman. I hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Oh, crap. Not again.
Not the beast! Ah!